Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. And in this one, we will be breaking down and ranking every specialization and how fun are they in PvP, from a scale of causing me physical pain and emotional distress all the way up to I just basically can't log off. It is so insanely fun. I will be producing a tier list on how powerful specializations are throughout all the different brackets, 2v2, 3v3, solo shuffle, battlegrounds, world PvP as we move forward. But right now, it's so volatile, it's so unstable, and I need more time playing to really assess the overall power rankings that I wanted to make this tier list to make sure that you guys had something to try and help you pick your specialization moving forward into midnight. And obviously, I think that this is one of the main reasons to pick a specialization is how much does it make you want to log into the game and spam play it, and how quickly are you going to get bored of it. Those are two important components. Now, do note for myself, I do prefer a higher level of complexity and nuance, but I also don't like pain. So if I can get easily disrupted, or I'm found easily annoyed on the specialization throughout my experience with it, then obviously it's going to be going down on a lower part of the tier list. It does take into consideration a little bit of power level, because if you don't take power level into it at all, you know, it could be really fun, but you're just losing every game. Maybe that's not the most fun. But let's get started. There's a lot of specializations. Affliction Warlock. I'm sorry, it's quickly going into pain. In PvE, it's a lot of fun. You spam Seed of Corruption, everything blows up, AoE. You can't do that in PvP. In PvP, you're just muddled down with a ton of keybinds and dot tracking that just seems really annoying. Healers spam Dispel all of your mechanics, and even if you do manage to get your full rotation off, it doesn't really feel like it does a lot. So it's very underwhelming. Big cognitive load. Doesn't feel like it has any payout. The only real advantage that you have right now is mobility with the double gateway, but the other Warlock specs offer that with other more significant benefits. So based on power, it's very low at the moment. Based on frustration of mechanics, I just feel like there's too much going on between Dark Harvest, managing your Agony stacking up, managing your Wither stacking up, managing your UA stacking up. It's just so much management that is so easily disrupted in PvP situations. And even if you ramp it, you just get, it doesn't even really feel like it does a lot. So underwhelming, huge cognitive load. Not really a big fan of it. It does cause me a lot of pain typically when I play it. Arcane Mage. This is a specialization where it's like you're either feeling really strong or you're feeling really weak. If there's hunters, you might be feeling really weak. If there's no hunters, you might be feeling really strong. So it's a very, rock, paper, scissors type of specialization. It's also a lot more complicated to pull off than the others. So take that into consideration if you're picking this. If you don't want something complex, avoid Arcane Mage. But if you do want something complex, something that's always going to be, pushing your limits moving forward, then I think that it is a good pick. For me, I'm going to put it on solid fun. The main reason I'm not putting it on insanely fun is that I do think the hunters can make it very frustrating. So that is holding it back a little bit in those situations, or DPS shaman specs as well. And they're starting to get a bit better. So you might see them a little bit more. I feel like also Mage has lost a lot as far as like the fun factor with Blast Wave Gun, so putting it a little bit lower than I did for my War Within tier list here on solid fun. Arms Warrior, what do you know? Another one going straight into the pain bucket. This is one where you feel like you can't move your character. You are just rooted and snared most of the time. Although you do have significant healing in like world PvP situations, and situations where dampening is in effect, reducing your healing, feel a lot weaker. Damage needs a little bit of a tune up since they readjusted damage out of slam and everything else, but now it's just a little bit underwhelming, a little bit hard to get uptime. Survivability is on the lower side. You get kited a lot. I found this to be more painful than fun, and that's kind of sad because I really like playing Warrior. Warrior is usually like one of my main alts to have, but right now it's going to need more tweaks before I think it's going to be jumping up on this tier list at all. Assassination Rogue, since the most recent tuning, has actually been improving a lot. Before I would have instantly lobbed this into the pain bucket, but right now I actually do like it. I wish it was a little bit more about sustained damage and not so much about the Kingsbane one shot. I think subtlety is definitely going to outshine you, but it has a unique flavor of rogue between all of the rogue specializations. So for me, I think it's good. Keeping the bleeds up, setting up for big kidney shots can be fun, just watching them rot and wither. The only thing that's kind of painful about it is if the match goes on too long, you start to feel energy starved. So it depends on if you're fast or slow. If you have fast or slow matches, if you're slow matches, it gets a little bit annoying when you run out of energy. So maybe I should drop it down here just because of that. Now I'm running that back in my head, and I'm like, that really was annoying when I hit like the midpoint of a game and I was just completely tapped on energy with no Thistle Tea. So maybe we should put it here actually after consideration. Also, you get kited pretty hard. And you're more limited on like vanishes. You don't have Shadow Dance, and your vanish is way longer cooldown. So maybe this is a more fair spot for it. Augmentation Evoker. This is another one that caused me pain when I played it. It just felt like the throughput was non-existent. Pretty much Eruption was the only ability that did damage. It was cool buffing up other people, but then it kind of just felt like I was flying around with like pool noodles hitting people. It just didn't really feel like it had the type of bite that a lot of other DPS specializations have at the moment, so it was causing me more pain. Now, Blood DK, when I logged on this like last week, it was pain. It was the worst tank. However, I'm seeing a lot of people talking about how the tank specs are actually getting a lot better. So I think I'll avoid the pain bucket for now and just put it on the not very fun bucket. But tanks are really simple specs. They are just like 3 buttons. They're invincible, and they beat most DPS specs one-on-one. So if you want 3 buttons and owning people in world PvP, then yeah, you're gonna be a tank. Or if you just don't want to engage in world PvP but you want war mode on, people will avoid you probably if you're running around as a tank. Guardian Druid though was actually pretty fun. I like the new animations that they've added, so I think for Guardian Druid I'll put it at least on good. The animations, it's got a little bit more going on than Blood DK as far as rotations and kind of what you can do with utility, that I liked it. Mind you, in Battlegrounds, Death Grip and Chains of Ice can be really fun, but they nerfed it also, so you can't like permanently grip people. So maybe we'll put Blood DK here. I'm now talking mostly like a Battleground situation for tanks. Beast Mastery Hunter, it's okay. It really depends on what you want as an experience. If you want something really simple, it's a great go-to. But again, for me, I don't like it's like dirty fun, but I think I'd get bored of it pretty fast. But I also don't know if I'm just getting older and I'm starting to actually like it more as I get older. I like the simple stuff. So I think it's like it's good. It gets annoying when your pets get CC'd though. Is the only thing. You got to be really aware of that. Trying to keep men pet on them with the men pet talent to remove crowd controls, but I think it's okay. It's a little bit weaker than it was before, but I think it's okay. For Brewmaster, I have not played this one very much. I can't imagine that it's like it's the best tank in PvE, so I can't imagine that it would be doing too bad. So like we'll throw it here. I don't see Brewmaster like almost ever though. Like there's maybe like one day out of a season in the last like 10 years that a Brewmaster showed up. So take that into consideration that this is a wild card. I'm putting it on good, but it is honestly a wild card. Feral Druid, I like the removal of blood talents. It's still the most complicated melee, I think. Tiger's Fury and snapshotting bleeds and knowing when to shapeshift and how to use fluid form to get back in and maintaining cyclones without falling behind and losing your damage. There's a lot going on. It's a lot better than it was. When we talk about fun, I actually do think it is fun at the moment. You get a little bit more mobility than a lot of the other melee. They get annoyed by all the snares and things like that, and you can do damage while you're on the run with the bleeds, which is nice. But I think with tuning, it might be just a tiny bit weaker than like Rogue or something like that, or Death Knight at the moment, but it's still solid fun. Boomkin seems like it's got decent build variety right now. Obviously, as more time goes on, the builds will start to get condensed, but the best part at the start of expansion is that it feels like you can kind of play whatever build you want. I think Boomkin is solid fun. It's not really changing too much. It's basically the same as it was for the War Within, but you can maybe run some more Starfall stuff, which could be cool. Devourer, Demon Hunter, I think can be fun. You have to really know how to set up your souls and how to generate souls and pick them up off the ground and get into the collapsing star windows, which is really cool. The mobility is where the skill expression really lies, though, with this specialization. The being able to like blink instantly around the map and then using Vengeful Retreat and resetting the cooldown of Vengeful Retreat. If you are like a master of like movement patterns and able to move and think quickly, like you'll be able to be very flashy with this specialization as far as avoidance. But if you're not, you might struggle a little bit, especially with how good rogues are. I think I'll put it on solid fun for now. Demonology Warlock is insanely fun. It just has the most amount of CC in the game, so you just make everyone else miserable. Making everybody else miserable is a lot of fun. I will tell you that right now in PvP. If you're causing more suffering to your opponent than they are causing to you, then you are having more fun. That is how fun is calculated in WoW PvP. So Demo has a ton of CC to factor in for that. Destruction Warlock I really like, especially for Battlegrounds, but even Arenas, just the Chaos Bolts. Chaos Bolts is always fun. I mean, it's just a standard Destro build. Shadow Burn's more of an execute mechanic, although I don't even know if people are playing it, but I really like the buffs to Incinerate recently. I think I might put Destro up on Insanely Fun at the moment here, especially Battlegrounds. Just really big Chaos Bolts. Devastation Evoker, much like BM, just very simple, very straightforward. It's just a burr laser right now with Disintegrate. So if you want the burr laser, you fly around with it, then it's going to be really good. I think it's a spec that I personally, though, would get bored of pretty fast. So like I'll probably just put it on good. It's one of those just like dirty fun specs for me that I can play for a little bit, but I'll get bored. But if you can only play for a little bit and you just want to have like most fun without a huge amount of investment towards keybinds and stuff like that, Dev Evoker is a good selection for that. Discipline Priest, really fun at the moment, but it's really broken. I'm hoping they'll do a tuning pass on healer damage in PvP, because Disc, Holy Paladin, and Mystery Monk are just doing like more damage than the DPS specs right now. That's a really important tuning tweak. I hope that comes through. For Discipline, I'll say that it is solid fun. Balancing damage and healing. I like the new rotation with Evangelism, making your Radiance instant rather than just being instant all the time. So you got to be a little bit more thoughtful when you're timing it. The big penance heals are nice. It's nice that there's a little bit of build variety as well between Oracle and Voidweaver. Elemental Shaman, if this was like a week ago, I would have instantly put it here, but I don't know anymore. This is why I said like making a power ranking tier list is actually really hard for me, because I actually had fun on it yesterday. It was doing decent damage. It's very all in though on your Ascendance. There's just a lot of modifiers that give you more haste during Ascendance. You get Totem of Wrath during Stormkeeper that gives you more crit damage. You just stack a bunch of modifiers together and you do a big ton of bursts. So if you want that type of playstyle, you're going to be able to do it. I think Ellie was actually still, though, I'd say it was at least solid fun at the moment. For Enhancement Shaman, very situational. Its cooldowns are still really strong, even despite the most recent tuning pass. Ascendance is still basically your big window, and then outside of that, although I've heard that you can play Totemic, but then Totemic gets really keybind heavy, so I don't really like Totemic just because it's more keybind heavy. Shaman in general is pretty keybind heavy still. I'm gonna put Enhance like it's like okay, it's okay, decent build variety. It can be a little painful with crowd control, but you do have more range than like some of the other options. So like. It's just in a good spot. I feel like it's a couple tuning knobs away from being really good. Frosty K, it's a cheesy one shot. Unfortunately, right now with Reaper's Mark, I don't really have a lot of fun on it. It's not because it wouldn't cause me pain on it, but it's just very gimmicky, very linear, and I don't know why Frosty K always ends up in that boat, and then they try to tune it out of that boat, and then just ends up immediately back in that boat. But that's where your eyes is kind of like a cheesy one shot with Reaper's Mark at the moment, from what I've observed. It's just not for me. I don't really like that. But if you do like that combo about Frost, then you're obviously going to rank this a lot differently, which is why this is a subjective tier list for fun. Fire Mage, much like Frosty K, very, very linear, based around combustion. You get combustion up, you absolutely roast somebody, just instantly kill them. If that sounds fun, you're going to probably want to play this. Decent mobility, a lot easier to pull off than Fire, or than Arcane. I'd say that it's the easiest mage spec probably. Especially since the pruning. I'll put it on good right now as far as fun factor. I do think like the crowd control available to you adds a lot more expression to it, and you kind of just run away and do damage, but I'll leave it on good for now. For Frost Mage, very similar. Boat, Ray of Frost just does most of your relevant damage in PvP. And then outside of that, you feel kind of worthless, but it is fun to set up like the Snowdrift stuns and Dragon Breaths and Ice Wall in general for all three mage specs. It's pretty good. For Frost, I think I usually always have fun on Frost. I think I can probably put Frost up here. Just solid fun. It's an easier spec to pull off than Arcane. The multiple schools of magic is always a benefit for Fire and Frost, especially if you're a newcomer in PvP. But I think it's just solid fun. Fury Warrior, unlike Arms Warrior, I actually think it's actually pretty good. The damage output is compensating a lot for the lack of mobility that Arms and Fury both have, but it does a lot of damage. So if you like that Juggernaut Pain Train, you will have fun on it. I think it's pretty good as far as fun. Havoc Demon Hunter, not really a big fan of it at the moment. It's very simple. They simplified it away from the on-use Essence Break combo, which is nice for simplicity, but the tuning is making it not look that interesting to me. So I'm probably just going to put it down here. Like I'm trying to base this based on like, what is the likelihood that I would make this spec? You know what I mean? Like, would I wait a while before making it? Probably. Well, then maybe it's not that fun, right? If I can afford to wait, then maybe it's not that fun. Havoc has just not grabbed me at all. Maybe that's because Devourer is stealing the show, but it's just not grabbing me. Holy Priest is very linear, just very linear. There's like basically no nuance left of this spec except fading and shadow or death and crowd control. But if that sounds good to you, you just want a very simple, straightforward spec to heal, then you'll enjoy it. But for me personally, I get bored of it very fast. So I'm going to put it on not very fun. But again, if you want something that's very simple and easy, and that sounds fun to you, then that is a good pickup. Holy Paladin, I had a lot of fun on. I had a lot of fun playing the Weapons of Order Paladin and tossing in these big hammer of wrath crits, and the Holy Light bombing and big Holy Light heals feels very satisfying at the moment. It's a nice balance of how much dedicated healing and damage you have to do. With some decent amount of crowd control to control the outcome. It's going to be the first healer that I level. I had a lot of fun with it. Marksmanship Hunter, it's kind of just like Destro, just big aim shots, very satisfying, especially in Battlegrounds. I would say that it's just kind of what you're going to expect from Marksmanship Hunter. They didn't take a lot of risk with it. Obviously, losing the knockback, much like Mage, is going to be probably felt as the most significant change. And then the scatter shots as well, probably. Mistweaver Monk, for people who play it, I think it's looking really good, especially Fistweaver. I've just never really been a big fan, so maybe this is personal bias, but I think it's important to discuss that. So it might be a little bit more personal bias against Mistweaver as just not being one of my favorites. I feel like it's a lot of juggling between targeting enemies and allies, which is what I don't really like. Where do we want to put Mistweaver? I think it's good, like as far as fun. Now, obviously, this is not a power tier list. If it was power tier list, to put this thing up in the clouds. But when it comes to fun, even if Monk is the most OP healer, I probably still wouldn't level it first. I don't know what it is about it. They did reduce some keybinds. I like that statue is now passive. I think it's summoned with like enveloping or your instant enveloping with T. I can't remember exactly, but I just didn't really like it. Was like a lot of target flipping back and forth, and you're really susceptible to crowd control. And I get annoyed when I get crowd controlled. So for me, it's like a little bit less. Outlaw Rogue, they've made it simpler, but it's still a bit annoying. Is what I found personally. I just really sub just feels so fluid and just like, all right, I'm ready to go. I have a stun again. And Outlaw for me, it still feels like a little bit of needless complexity, and it doesn't really have like that oomph moment on it at the moment. Like this guy has an oomph moment, but then runs out of steam. This guy just doesn't have an oomph a moment for me. So I would probably level it a little bit later, and it's also really complex. So it's like, again, the issue with Affliction and like Outlaw is that they're pretty complicated, and they don't have like the reward factor for how complicated they are, so they feel very dissatisfying in a lot of the situations. Preservation Evoker, I used to like the spec a lot in Dragonflight. I think the first iteration of it in Dragonflight was my favorite. I was hoping it would see a little bit of help with the damage buffs they did to healers, but it seems like it's just benefited the top three more than it has you, unfortunately. The Verdant Embrace CC immunity is fun. When you fly in, you can go immune to CC for a second and spam sleep people, which can be fun, but the damage is still just not like great. I don't think I would. I think I would probably wait. So I would put it on just not the very fun tier list right now. Prot Warrior, again, tanks are really tough. I'd imagine that it's doing fine, but it doesn't have any like really amazing stuff going on with it. Unlike Prot Paladin, which is like giga broken. You just have infinite shields to put on people. You do really big damage in your burst window as Templar. So yeah, Prot Paladin is one to look out for. Resto Druid's a weird one because I think it is actually a lot of fun, but it's very bad. So this is probably one of the hardest ones because like it is very fun, but it's not that good. But if they do a tuning pass and bring down these healers, which I can't believe they wouldn't, because most of them can have damage DPS, you'll maybe be in a good spot because the healing is still a little bit low. I will put it on, I want to put it on solid fun because of the fun factor, but it's like its tuning is so bad. So if you play it because I tell you that it's fun, and then you're just like, man, I literally can't heal. Everybody's dead the whole time. You're gonna be like, this isn't fun at all. Why did he tell me to play it? That's where I'm worried a bit on it. Like, if a little bit of a tuning pass, and I'd put it up on insanely fun. But for now, I think I'm gonna put it down here, just out of safety, just because the tuning on it. I don't know. I have fun on it though. I'm putting it here. I think I have pretty good fun on it. I kind of want to put it here at least. This is risky. I'm putting it there. Ret Paladin, very straightforward bonk spec, doing phenomenally well now after the bug fixes. You're doing a lot more damage. This one is just really straightforward. It's much like Dev and BM Hunter for me. Like I personally don't see myself like maining it over a long period of time, but if you want like some just cheesy, easy fun, Ret Paladin is a very good option at the moment to go after. Restoration Shaman, I feel like it's lost all the fun stuff, like having the knockbacks that you used to have. I feel like it's lost a lot of the fun stuff. It's undertuned to hell. You're very weak. I'm putting you on pain. I think Resto Shaman is pain. You don't really do a lot of damage. It's tough to juggle the damage in with how much your healing feels like it's lackluster with the pace of damage. I think pain is probably a fair spot. Shadow Priest, really solid fun. Really good. Even though we lost the stun, we lost the void swap, it's still really good. I like the damage output on it. Still have outplay factors with fading, crowd controlling, life gripping, and massive spelling, and purging off important buffs and things like that for like just minor utility decisions that you can make. Bit easier to play. I kind of wish that Void Bolt replaced Mind Blast a little bit, just to ease down the keybinds on the damage rotation a little bit. While you're in Void form, it's just replaced by Void Blast or something. Or if you've used Void Blast, it returns back to Mind Blast, and then if you get Void Blast again, it turns into Void Blast. Something like that. It's just the Void Blast button on Void form feels just a little bit weird is the only thing for it. Subtlety Rogue, this is one where it's very easy, very straightforward, but very satisfying. Just you always feels like you have a dance. You can always feels like you can stun something, go after, and just chop them down. So surprisingly, it was very fun for me. Now, if you're more an advanced rogue player, you might think it's terrible. So this is why this subjective opinion matters a lot when we're doing this discussion over these specializations. I feel like if you've played rogue for a long time, you might think what I just said is absolutely detestable. But for someone who's like more of a casual rogue player, I thought it was a lot of fun. Survival Hunter, the nerf on Boomstick was noticeable, and Boomstick was kind of carrying. I think it's just kind of okay. At the moment, I don't think I would make one. I'm not going to be racing to make one personally at the moment, and I do think you'll feel the utility loss mostly on survival with things like Scattershot, especially being more melee oriented than the other hunter specializations. But it's okay. Unholy DK is another one I think is insanely fun. It's also just strong, but it's also insanely fun. Really like the putrefy mechanic. And running people down with all the pets. So yeah, that I like the rework. I like the new summons. The Magus of the Deads are really cool. Vengeance Demon Hunter, I don't really see it a lot. It used to be fun because you had the most amount of CC, but I think they've nerfed your CC. I personally don't see myself like, I could honestly see myself wanting to try like some of these tanks that are on good and above at some point. Whether it was like for a BG or just like a Mimi World PvP session or something, but Vengeance, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but the other two demon, I think Devourer is just outshining them a lot. Windwalker Monk, I really like their animations on their new cooldown when they start glowing green Super Saiyan. It looks really cool. They look really strong, and Fist of Fury is doing a lot of damage at the moment. I think that's definitely solid fun. For logging in, but it can be a bit annoying with crowd control, especially against mages. So I think main reason I'm not just putting it up here onto the insanely fun tier. But do note this is subjective. This is like my personal opinion, like what specs that I'm kind of looking at and being like, these specs I really want to kind of make. I'm kind of disappointed because I really want to make an Arms Warrior again. I want to make an Athlock too, but like I know that it will be pain right now unless there are some tuning adjustments, which maybe they will do. So make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can get updated on those tuning adjustments, because I'll be relaying them to you basically as soon as they happen. But other than that, thank you guys very much for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown and it's helped you in your selection or possibly avoidance of a specialization or situation. But don't let my opinion sway you. If something looks really cool to you, then my opinion does not matter, and have at thee. So subjective discussion. Thank you guys very much, and I will see you in the next one.